Hey guys, welcome to DogeCoin, where we show you how to invest for a better tomorrow. My name's Tyler, and we're going to be bringing you a quick video today on how to both analyze and set up a chart when you're looking at trading cryptocurrencies. Specifically today, since everybody's been focusing on the DogeCoin hype and everything going through, we're going to be working with that as the chart. So when I'm first looking to analyze a chart, I like to decide what kind of time frame I'm looking at, whether I'm scalping, whether I'm trying to buy a certain threshold of a support and then sell at a certain resistance throughout the day. I'll usually look between the 5 and 15 minute marks. If we look at the 5 minute mark, it just shows you a little bit more data and a little more clusters of how stuff is going. But the 15 minute mark is usually pretty good because it can give you a good trend on like where stuff is reversing over time. As you can see in this area, this is about 2:45 for me right now. I'm in Mountain Time, Denver area. So this is where the trend was going between 2:30 and 2:45, and it looks like it's been on a pretty decent downtrend for the sell volume. And then coming into just now at 3 o'clock, it looks like it's starting to reverse back up. So this is why it's nice to look at different time frames for what stuff's going on. Obviously, you can come in here, look at the 1 minute chart, see the reversal too, see just a few more candlesticks for what's going on and see why this might be going over a certain time frame, or if you're just trying to scalp faster, that kind of stuff. But so since we're working on the 15 minute timeline, the first thing I want to do is try to set up a support of where I think there's going to be a support. So usually what I'll look for, I try not to set up a support too high up here because there's not a lot of data points to go off of. But what I'll do is I usually try to come down here and try to find harder supports first before I set up softer supports, see where there's a lot of data points hitting, and see what I can do to set this up as a support. So considering that we have quite a few that are just right above this area right here of this 3282, this looks like it might be a good solid support here, especially because nothing's come down to touch it even as this has gone forward. So what we'll do is we're going to go click this arrow, we're going to do a horizontal line, and we're going to look for that 3282 area, and we're just going to add that in. And what I like to do is I usually like to make my lines thicker depending on how hard or soft I think the support is. So what you'll do is go in here and click on line. You'll go and click on one of these two. Usually I try not to go for this one because this kind of blocks the screen a little bit. So I'll go like the second from the last. And then I usually like to make my supports like a light yellowish color. Right there, that's going to be a harder support setup for right now. This has been support basically since yesterday around noon. So this is looking to be set pretty well for the next day or so, especially with the DogeCoin 420 hype and rally and everything going on, where that's potentially going to push the price even higher. And then where I'll look next for a softer support is just up here where there's a lot more line points. So I'm seeing as we zoom in here, this looks like it could be a softer support around this 0.35 range. And then if we want to go for a really soft support, we're looking around this 0.38 range. So we're just going to go in here, add a couple more lines. Since it's softer support, we're going to make this a little thinner, and we'll maybe just trim down the opacity a little bit so it's a little more transparent. And we're going to add a support around this 3.8 range. And now that's going to be our support line set up. Right now, this is where the price is resting, 0.388. So if it were to bounce off of this 0.381 line a few times, I would think it might be trying to break down. If it goes through with a strong falling motion, then it's most likely going to break to the support, and you'd be looking for it to possibly fall till this next support. So that's usually how you'd use your support line. The next thing we're going to be looking for is the resistance lines on the chart. Usually we're going to be looking for just the top end ones to see where it could be going for testing either new highs or new areas where it hasn't been in the last few hours. So we're only going to be adding two right now, and we'll do a harder and a softer. So you'll still be using a horizontal line. So we'll go here again. This looks like it's a pretty decent resistance today around this 0.424 range. So we're going to put this in. This is going to be your harder resistance because it's going to be very hard for it to test, especially since it's only touched there about once and then fell right back down around this area. And then we're going to go in here and make sure the opacity is back at 100% just because it's a harder support and it's easier for us to visually see that. You can make whatever color you want, but I like more pastel colors and lighter colors because it's easier for me to see contrast and everything between, like I changed my chart from the normal green and red to blue and like a purplish pink. And we're going to change the resistance to a harder line here. It looks like this is about another resistance here. This is about this 0.40 range, somewhere in here. Obviously crypto, they have a little bit more leeway in it. They go to like multiple decimal points, but usually you just kind of want to eyeball it a little bit and kind of go from there. Same thing. We'll just go in here, change the opacity, put the line thickness down. It's going to be a softer resistance, maybe even here because it needs to break that a few more times. And then that's the basis setup for our support and resistance lines. And right now, as you can see, this is kind of bouncing in between this channel of this support support of 0.38 and this resistance of 0.40. So it's going to be a nice range for you to kind of like, especially if you have a bigger account and you're just trying to scalp for quick profit, you're going to be looking for it to bounce off of this support of 0.381. Either when it starts reversing or breaking through here is when you're going to start buying, and when it bounces off either this support or possibly this support, this is when you would be looking to scalp back up and sell again. Now the third line I usually like to draw is a trend line. This usually is going to tell you the direction of the stock, and you can set it up for different patterns if you're familiar with patterns. Right now this is looking to be like a bull flag pattern, which basically if you were to draw the lines, you would have like a line here, which I'll be showing you, and this would set up for it to possibly squeeze up or squeeze down depending on the direction that the price ends up going as we look at the chart more over the next few hours. So to do a trend line, you're just going to go here the same as we did for the horizontal line, click trend line, and you're just going to be looking to find where you can connect this with multiple points. Usually it's going to take you a few times, trial and error. I like to connect it to my resistance lines and everything, make it a little easier, but you're just going to go here, drag down, and it might take a little bit of adjustment for you to go through, but that's okay. You just want to get like the baseline line in. So we'll go here. I'm going to drag it down over this way, and then we're going to be looking to angle it more this way so it connects more. This is going to be like outliers a little bit where the price is falling, so we want it to connect more here, and this is looking more like how the trend line is going to be. So you know, we have it connecting here where it's reversing, we have it connecting off of here where it's going to be falling through, and then this is going to be outliers where it just flashes under that price point, because you know trend lines can't be perfect with the price changing. And you can see as we go through, this is essentially following this entire trend line as we go up. So this is basically what we want, is to see if it's going off. This can kind of tell you baseline new resistances. So if you don't have resistance line set up, it could also be bouncing off this line to tell you new resistance. So if it was up here, it would bounce here, and it would possibly be testing 0.41 as a new resistance. So it can help you with those as well. And I'm not going to do the whole bull flag pattern thing and all that for you right now, just because that's a little more advanced. I'll be doing more videos in the series for some of those patterns and what to look out for them. But as for the flag as we go forward, I do like to draw lines that match my candlestick. So if I'm looking for an upward trend, I like to match my up positive trends. So since I have lighter blue, I do lighter blue line. If it was negative, I would be doing that pinkish color for the downward trend as we go in. Now, as we're looking at this chart, it's looking to be a very bullish run going into the next few hours and a day or two, possibly. As you can see, it was close to those highs that we saw a few days ago on the 16th. And this is basically reversed back from the bottom. It hit around that 0.2425 range. And then it's been slowly escalating back up with more strength than it even had this time. This rose pretty fast, but this is consolidated and it's given it more strength to rise here. So that gives me a lot more sign of where it's going to be going over the next couple of days as we look at the chart. But now we're going to be talking about a few different indicators and what I look for when I'm looking at a chart. So one of my favorite indicators is going to be volume. So to get volume, all you're going to do is go up here for indicators. You want to make sure you go to built-in here on the tabs, and then you can just type in volume without having to search through, and it's going to show you the volume chart on the bottom of your chart right here on TradingView. So what this is going to show you is how many people or how many different trades or the amount of money basically that's going into the market as the time goes on, depending on how you're looking at the different stats, because there's a few different volume indicators you can do, but we're just using baseline volume. So as you can see on the 16th, it had an insane amount of volume. This is probably about twice as much as it is today even, but the last few days it tapered off. The weekend was pretty slow for DogeCoin as we look through, and as we got into today, the volume has ramped up quite a bit, and it's looking to start retracing back into that similar volume that we saw on the 16th when it hit those new highs of that 0.45 range. So going into tomorrow, if we can get about the same volume, if not more, we could be seeing that 0.45 range or higher again, and we could possibly be seeing at 0.50 like everybody's been anticipating going into the middle of this week. The next indicator that I usually like to do is RSI, which is the relative strength index, and basically this is going to tell you if the stock is being oversold or overbought. This is kind of a wonky color. I don't know why it's this color right now, so we're going to change that. So same thing, you just right click on that, change your color wherever you want. You can even change your line style too. You can do lines with breaks. You can keep the price line in there too, so it'll show you where the price line is in relation to being oversold. That's what I like to do. White is usually probably going to be the easiest to see with this stuff going on. And basically what you're going to be looking for, if it's above 70, it's overbought. Below 30, it's going to be more oversold. And as you hit more of that overbought range, you're going to be looking for the price to possibly drop more as it's been wearing off on a bullish run. And as it goes more into that oversold range, you're going to be looking for it to possibly go up in price again, because it's getting down to where it's overly sold and it's kind of just getting ready to bounce off of a new support that's been coming off of that oversold range. As we're trending around this 30 to 70 range, especially in this middle near this price average, this is a good sign that if it's staying not overbought or oversold and it's still trending upwards, that the price of the either crypto or stock that you're analyzing in a chart is going to be going very nicely into the future as we look at the price movement, because it shows that a lot of people are looking to not overly react to how the price movement is going because they're not overly selling or overly buying, obviously. Now, the last indicator that I like to use to show you guys is going to be Bollinger Bands. And this is usually going to be the top up here, but Bollinger Bands are going to look a little intimidating at first, but they're fairly easy to do. They're kind of function similar to RSI, but a little more different on the chart. So as we pull up the Bollinger Bands, you'll see them here. Usually I like to coordinate these and change the colors on them so they're a little easier to see. So the cost basis, you know, maybe do like a yellow so you can kind of see it trending through your stuff. And then top and bottom, usually I'll do different colors so you can see those a little easier as they stick out. Usually I'll match them to my bars. So I'll do like that lighter blue color for my top, and then I'll do that like pinkish color for the bottom so it matches all my chart stuff. And what this will show you is if it's staying near this yellow line, it's probably going to stay consistently towards matching this line more, and it's not trending too much towards overbought, oversold. If it's moving towards this top line, it's moving more towards being overbought. And if it's trending more towards this bottom line, it's looking to be more oversold. As you can see, it went overbought, kind of trended back to this middle line, went oversold, trended to this line, and then bounced back to this middle ground area. And now it's kind of like consolidating here in this middle ground area. And since we're around this trend line right here, we could be looking at a new support. The trend line did match with the support here, so we should be seeing a bounce off this 0.381 line. And then I would expect the price movement to be somewhere between 0.39 and 0.40 for the next like 20-30 minutes. And if it goes up more overbought and this adjusts, this could be trending up, and we could be seeing a new support at that 0.40 line as we look at the next hour or two. So that's the basis of Bollinger Bands. They're kind of just a different way to look at RSI. It can help you read the chart more for where the price movement could be going and where you might want to buy in or sell at as you're looking at prices on crypto charts especially. We are in a Discord where you can ask questions and also get charts from me like this real time for a lot of your different cryptos you're looking at or stocks as you navigate the stock market. So make sure you join that Discord if you're interested. The link will be in the description. I'll be coming out with different series of chart analysis, both for stocks and cryptos, of different indicators and how to use them, and also how to better set up your charts for success as you go along your career as a trader. And I just want to thank you guys so much for the support in the last couple months for making videos on YouTube. And we're getting ever closer to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So thank you, and I appreciate you guys a lot. Other than that, that's going to do it for me today, guys, and I'll catch you later. Peace.